Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss show. And in today's episode, this is more of a personal, like, vent session type episode, different than the usual episodes where I have, overall, at the end of the day, I am going to try to remain professional, but also be personal. Because I do want these episodes to like reach out to people where, in case if you're going through a similar situation and while listening to this episode, you can read between the lines and figure out what I'm talking about, because I don't want to really get into detail, because I know that there's people listening, people waiting for me to say something, and I guess gonna try to bring it up in my face and stuff. So, and it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm not even worried about that. I guess like if I was in some crash out, just wanting to be just overly disrespectful mindset, yeah, I probably would name drop the individual. But to, I guess, eliminate any just confrontations and all that. It ain't like the person I'm like they're bigger than me or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, I know that they can get petty, and I know that they could do like things where it's just overall I'm like it would cause me to act out. And so that's why I'm like, I don't really feel like acting out. I mean, like I said, if I was like in a crash out mindset, name dropping, all that, like I don't care about acting out. But no, I'm gonna be a little strategic in this episode. So yeah. Anyways, overall though, I wanted to kind of somewhat talk on support. Because that's one thing I feel like that this world lacks. Like people don't want to see a dream. They don't want to see a vision, because most likely for themselves growing up, like they ain't really have no dreams and visions. They ain't really have no goals. Like they just go based off of the grow old, working a bunch of different 9-to-5s and not really trying to maintain a business, and when I look at myself as a content creator, I look at it as like I'm maintaining a business, like I'm building a brand, I'm building a name for myself, so I don't have to worry about well, I'm gonna lose this 9-to-5, I'm gonna lose that 9-to-5, like I don't want to work at this. Like when I had worked at my last job, the very first probably week I had worked there, I was like, I'm ready to go. I'm like, I'm not getting along with the employees. There's some customers where I'm like, they just being rude for no reason. I don't want to be in this environment, but I stuck it out. Overall, I waited until things did get right, and eventually it did. And then, yeah, shortly afterwards, COVID had happened. So I had no choice but to leave that place. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, I know COVID, like where things like COVID ain't happening every single year, but I'm also not trying to have it where it's like, from situations like that to, I remember when I tried to go get a job at Chipotle, and yeah, they didn't hire me because I didn't know about the history of their business and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fam, if you guys teach me how to make a burrito or anything else off of your guys' menu, I'll do that. But I'm like giving somebody like a Jeopardy history lesson about burritos, Chipotle, and all. If a person that just worked their 9-to-5, and that's the thing. Because I know people, I feel like that they think I'm disrespecting those that are working 9-to-5s. There is absolutely nothing wrong with working a 9-to-5. Like if you feel more comfortable doing that versus going and getting or like trying to like find a career or stuff like whatever you want to do in life, do it. Don't let nobody tell you different, because the thing is this, there's somebody probably across the country or across the world where they, it's like, I guess like they're a part of like, starting a business, but they're like, fam, I just want me a normal 9-to-5 job. They don't like the business stuff. Me, on the other hand, that's like, I like the business stuff, So if I figure out more ways I can expand my brand, business, and all that, I'm going to do it, So, but anyways, But yeah, I just remember with Chipotle, it was yeah, they ain't, but no, if I would have gotten the job at Chipotle, I probably would have been fired shortly afterwards, because then that whole, what was it, like E. coli or something like that? It was something with Chipotle where it was like their businesses had to shut down, and or at least like close up for a little bit. I think, but I think it was some locations that did shut down. I don't think it was all their locations, because there's the one Chipotle that I always go by where it's like, yeah, it's still there, right? Even after that whole situation. So, but anyways, but no, the thing is this though, it's like the individual in question, they're comfortable with working a 9 to 5, and it's like throughout their life, I don't know how many 9 to 5 jobs they done had, and that's something where I'm like, I feel like at one point in time, like they did have dreams and goals when they were younger, but they got scared, and they didn't want, I guess, to go through with it. And the thing is this, I felt the same way when I very first got into content creating. I got scared, but that's what I did. I pulled that trigger and I got into content creating. And now it's like I'm thousands of videos deep. What else? Like, like all the different things. And that's the thing too, where it's like I look at all of the different things that I've accomplished with content creating, and it's like, with me, I feel happy about that, and then there's people that, and that's the thing where it's like, when you sit down and you think about it, it's like this, and this individual in question, it's like I'm somewhat close with them, so it's one of those things where it's like, you would think like somebody that you barely know, where they're congratulating you more than a person that you done known for some time. It's like, bro, it really trips me out. It really trips me out. And it's like, people that you would consider like in your circle, like close and stuff, like you would think like they would support you more than anybody, but no, it don't work like that. And that's the thing where it's like where my mind is at right now, where I find like support difficult. Like I don't know what support genuinely feels like. I don't know what it feels like to have somebody in your corner. Like I feel like, yeah, I have like I guess like the best way I could describe it, it's kind of like a boxing match. Like, yeah, you have the fans in the crowd, you have the fans watching you on TV, you got the fans watching your highlights on social media, but you don't have nobody in your corner to go to after the round is over with. Like, you don't have nobody to fix you up, like after you done took like a horrible beating and stuff. Like, yeah, you don't have nobody in your corner. Like, I just go to my corner and I just sit there and wait, I guess, for the bell thing to go off for the next round, pretty much. And I'm like, I've been having a boxing match, but it's like I'm by myself out there. I walked out by myself, and most likely when the boxing match is over and I'm like, talking on like retirement and things, I'm most likely gonna be by myself. Like, that's the thing. It just, and it trips me out, because it's like I don't even like thinking like that. I don't like thinking along the lines like I'm gonna retire or I'm gonna leave content creating. But it's just, when you have it where it's like it's just people that don't really support you as much. And I'm like, you ain't got to watch every video I upload. You ain't got to join every stream, listen to my music, watch every TikTok and Instagram reel that I do, any form of content, reading my stories and stuff. You ain't even got to do all that, but it's like, to, I guess, just allow me, how can I put this in words? It's just, it's difficult. Like, it's a thing that I'm actively trying to process and stuff, where I guess like when it comes down to just but at the same time, it's like I've been dealing with it for so long now, and that's the thing where it's like it gets tiring. Like it gets to a point where I'm like, bro, like I don't know what else I need to do to convince these individuals, but it gets to a point where it's like, fam, like, and I think at the end of the day, I'm like, if it comes down, I guess, between still focusing on my career and all that stuff, because here's the thing, like, that's something that I've always have thought of too, where it's like, what if to, like, I guess to eliminate this like ongoing stress, like I just left content creating. And that's the thing, like I don't want to do that. I don't want to leave content creating because like because of other people. I want to leave content creating because of how with like whatever it is that I'm going through, it's like it's my decision, you know, not other people's decision. Because if it was like, I feel like if I did ask a lot of people, like, should I stay with content creating or should I quit? I feel like a lot of people, especially those I'm close with, I feel like that they would say for me to quit. And that's the thing where I'm like, I put so much work into this, and that's the thing. I don't think a lot of people know, and that's why I'm like, you know, I know that's how I know that they don't really be paying attention to me in content creating. Like, they can lie to my face and be all like, oh yeah, it's like I've been supporting you, and that's, you know, the funny thing is, I just know for a fact that that's what it's gonna come down to, where it's like it's just gonna be a flat out lie to my face, where yeah, let's say I like, you know, like my next video, it's the biggest video that I've uploaded. You know, it's like video accumulates millions of views. All my other videos are accumulating millions of views. You know, like my voiceovers, it like done landed me a movie role or a video game role. Video game takes off. Like it gets to a point where it's like more people know my name now than they did the day before because of whatever it is that took off. And then they're gonna be the main ones talking about like, oh, I knew you could always do it, I'm proud of you, this and that. And I'm like, fam, where was this energy at when I guess like none of this had happened? You know, it's like you want to wait until it gets to a point in time where it's like you think you're gonna get something out of it and stuff. And I, just to make it clear, no, they're not. I'm like, they ain't gonna, like the day that I make it, and maybe that's why I probably haven't made it. It's like I'm in this like, you know, not like just petty mindset and stuff. And yeah, you know, I'm trying to break out of that. I'm trying to, you know, overall be a better person and things, but I'm like, I want this individual to keep the same energy. I'm like, don't have it where it's like, you know, I make it, I'm living in a nice fancy house, got a nice fancy car and all this other stuff. You know, it's like everything that I have, it's all paid off and things like you know, and I ain't trying to have it where it's like this individual, they asking me for this. And the funny thing is that, you know, even when I wasn't, this was like when I was working in Seattle, and then was, yeah, also doing content creating at the same time. But it's like I was making a little bit of money through content creating. I mean, it wasn't a whole lot, but it was still something. But no, they were asking me for money, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, here it is, you have a 9 to 5, here it is, it's like you make it seem like, oh, I'm taking care of myself, taking care of everything around me and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, you're still having to ask people for money. Like, it wasn't even like it was no small amounts, like, oh, can I get $1, can I get 5, 10, 20, stuff like that. Like, they asking me for hundreds, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fam, why are you asking me for money? If it's like you display that you got this good paying job, you have a better pay. No, so like at the time being, even with me doing YouTube and I think I was partnered with SeatGeek at the time. I can't remember when exactly I had partnered with them and stuff, but either way, it's like I was making that money, and then was also making money from when I was working in Seattle. They still would just their job by themselves. They still was making more money than me, and they still was asking me for money. And that's the thing that just it trips me out. I'm like, you're in a much more better position than I am, and then it's like you still broke. You still it's so like, to me, it's just, I find stuff like that funny. I find it where it's like, you know, if you struggle this much, I guess, with 9 to 5s and all that, wouldn't it be best to start investing in a business? You know, like, even if you don't even want to do that, it's like, okay, well then find a career where you don't have to ask nobody for money. You don't have to, like, and that's the thing where it's just, you know, I feel like their mindset is like, whatever pays the bills, whatever, you know, just gets the job done at the moment. It's like, okay, cool, but what about the future? You know, it's like that's the thing. You don't really know what the future holds for you. So it's like, that's why with me, my mindset is focus on your business as much as you possibly can. Go over the clock, wake up early, go to sleep late, like do any and everything that you possibly can do to make sure that you have the best possible business that you're building for yourself and for others possibly. You know, but yeah, there's going to be people that aren't going to support you. There's going to be people where it's like they, for some reason, they would rather, I guess, like sit around and argue with you about your business versus like just being supportive. And that's the thing where I'm like, let it be the other way around. I've been supporting. You know what's funny? They asked me that this individual, they asked me not too long ago to be on my podcast. the podcast that I'm recording this episode for now, they wanted to be on my podcast or wanted to do an episode. They asked me, they was like, when can I do an episode and stuff? And that's the thing where I'm like, this individual, they're not really a content creator like that. It's like they're just the way that they talk. I'm like, you gonna mess around and get me canceled before I guess my podcast does blow up and stuff. So, but anyways, yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, people really need to, I guess, like, pick and choose, a battle that's good for them. It's like, yeah, if you getting into it with somebody else that's working a 9 to 5, then it's like, okay, then I feel like you have an argument. But when you're getting into it with somebody that's building a brand, building a business, what do you think is going to stand out more to them? You working your 9 to 5 and you making all this magical money and stuff, or me, and it's like, we don't know how long that 9 to 5, because it's like that business can shut down tomorrow like nothing. At least with me, it's like, okay, it's like if YouTube were to shut down, I got streaming. If streaming were to shut down, I got YouTube. If one platform shuts down, I have the others pretty much. So, and that's the thing. Like, Twitch will probably be the only place where I ain't made a name for myself. But podcast episodes, I'm like, I got me some podcast episodes that went viral. I got me some TikToks that went viral. I got me some YouTube videos that went viral and stuff. So it's like, it's one of those things where I just, I'm not resting until, I might, I have to, of course, sleep at night and things. But overall, it's like, I don't allow my dreams to, like, not go nowhere. Like, I'm doing the best that I possibly can do when it comes down to my dreams. But, you got people out there where it's like, they don't see that. They don't see the vision. They don't see the goals. They don't see nothing. And then they want you to feel the same way. And I'm like, look, you're miserable. I'm not trying to be like that. I'm somewhat happy. Like, I might have my moments where I feel miserable, but I sit down and I think about life and I'm like, fam, life is good right now. So I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm, don't mind sitting around being miserable. Then it's like, okay, like, because even at my old job, like, I wouldn't say that I was miserable, but there was moments where I'm like, I know I'm not appreciated. I know that I'm easily replaceable. Like, it's stuff like that where I'm like, I don't like that mindset. So that's why I'm like, with content creating, that's the one place where I don't feel that way. Like, people, the thing is that what trips me out about content creating is that people will see my name, they will become a fan, they'll see my video and they'll watch my video, they'll listen to my podcast episodes, join my streams. Like, there's people that I don't even know that's been across the world, across the country, people that I went to school with, where it's like they're showing me genuine support. Like, and it's things, to me, it's things like that. It's, it's a dope thing to see. It's a really beautiful thing to see, because it's like, you don't see that with no 9 to 5. And I'm like, and maybe that's the thing where it's like, I shouldn't be worried about what people are seeing with me and all that stuff. But I'm like, I would rather have it where people are seeing positive things with me than seeing negative. Because I guarantee and I promise you, if I go to this person's 9 to 5 and ask some questions about them, and it's like, yeah, there's going to probably be some people telling me some stories. So I'm like, fam, yeah, with content creating, there's going to probably be some people telling me some stories too. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I guess the difference with that and then with a 9 to 5 is that with content creating, you could easily ignore a person. If you set yourself up for failure getting into it with somebody, I'm like, then that's on you, but a 9 to 5, on the other hand, it's like, you got to work around this person, I guess, until one or the other quits. But you can't be out here quitting every single job that you, like, oh, there's a person there that I don't like, there's a person there I'm getting into it with, I got to quit, I got to do this, yeah, and it's like, how many times can you do that before you end up realizing that it's all like, dang, I'm like, I'm quitting all these different jobs, I got these different things going on. It's like, maybe I'm the problem, but anyways, yeah, it's one of those things. That's one thing too where I'm like, I remember with this individual was that they was working a 9 to 5, and I ain't gonna get into too much detail, but let's just say they put themselves in a position where they could have got fired fooling around with another employee of theirs. And I'm like, fam, just no, not even like a vision with what they want to see for themselves. Like, they just blindly do stuff. And that's why I'm like, yeah, fam, I'm like, you can miss me with the shenanigans and stuff, cause I ain't hearing nothing that this individual has to say about my career, about what I got going on. It's like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, that day when I finally do make it, and then yeah, it's like I'm opening up other businesses, and it's like I'm really getting to see my life for what I want it to be and stuff. Yeah, keep that same energy. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So, but anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.